yeah, you don't really have to rely on that. So that's just a random note. Also, Axelav picked up a healing scroll of healing. Always good to have on you. Rule of thumb for me, and I recommend doing this because I know a lot of people who have been like, yeah, that's actually a good idea. This is for every gold mine that you have running. Just buy a healing scroll. At this point, he only has one healing scroll. He could have two, especially because he has a lot of money flow. Only problem with this is the fact that the Orc also has an Expo, so he does also have the ability to do this. And the one thing that's great about Undead is the fact that you have so many small units, and if they rely on AoE or something, if they do Chain Wave, it's kind of great for this army composition and the fact that you can set up an Expo easily really early just because of the Frost Armor. So you can get the healing scrolls, and every time they Chain Wave you, you use it, and the fact that their army is kind of slowed because of the Frost Armor, and they have the Curse, so they can't really hit as often, reduces their damage output so much that you don't really have to worry about anything except the Chain Wave, or I guess Chain Stomp if they do it. Stomp doesn't really do much damage. All it really does is change how they position themselves. So he brings over the ghouls right now. I kind of thought this was a bad idea because he's really low on wood, and the fact that his gold income is massive. Oh, by the way, some nice hacks here on the whole ward thing. Yeah, I thought I'd point that out. It's kind of lucky to actually get those. I guess it's kind of obvious because you see the Death Knight kind of run out into the open, and oh, look, he's missing his second ward item. So you kind of just have to go in around there. Anyways, what I was saying was I thought he should have left one or two more ghouls behind, just because, A, he spent a lot of it on Ghoul Frenzy. Sorry I blanked there, but Ghoul Frenzy is pretty expensive on the wood, so you really have to make sure that you do have the ability to harvest more wood. Also, I'm going to point out that he did get the Dreadlord third. This is always a great hero to have. Sometimes I get him second just because of sleep. Sometimes I get him first. I usually don't get him first because I usually go Cryptlord, Dreadlord, and then DK, but that's just me. Oh, Kiwi does a smart thing here. He kind of splits up his army and forces Axelav to run one way and his raiders come the other way. What he really should have done, though, is just kept his army there, and when Axelav comes, you just kind of run away a bit, and when the raiders go back in, and you see him coming back, just kind of run your other army back in. This way you can take down maybe a Slaughterhouse and Tomb of Relics. But the one problem is you won't have the raiders to ensnare and kill a couple buildings. Anyways, smart move by Axelav by actually getting 2 Nerubian towers as opposed to a bunch of Spirit towers. They counter raiders really well, and the fact that they won't be able to building snap is great. Anyways, the whole Dreadlord thing, when people go with the Tauren Chieftain, they kind of rely on him to use the Stomp or the Shockwave, and when they don't have the ability to do this as often because he's slept, the Orc player is really screwed. And I've seen people use this in like against human and stuff. They just go with the Dreadlord to eliminate the use of the second hero because it's really hard to micro around that. It just adds another aspect that you have to pay attention to, like, oh crap, my Tauren Chieftain's asleep again. I'm going to have to wake him up with this unit, where you're nuking the crap out of the rest of his army. And it kind of splits up his focus, makes it a lot harder for him to scout or to do anything else, and it's just really a bitch in the end. Kiwi does something smart here. Oh, sorry, I didn't point this out, but he is starting to go Headhunters with a whole bunch of Spirit Walkers. This is always good. One thing he does need, though, is a second healing scroll. This would have really done him some good, especially because he has 920 gold. If he had spent his money a lot better, that would have been perfect. Anyways, nice use of sleep. It allows him to really regain position, and the fact that he won't be able to stomp pretty much most of Axelav's damage output. He's got really good positioning here, and the fact that Kiwi can't really focus anything in particular, and he kind of has to split his focus, except focus fire with his ranged units, is really painful on him right now, because really what Axelav has done is he's put his two melee heroes up front, and they do have the frost armor. One thing is, oh, nice coil snipe, by the way. The one thing that is really kind of painful is the fact that he won't be able to use as much frost armor because he is using the Nova, and it is being dispelled. So it kind of makes it a little more painful for Axelav, but he does make sure that it is on his ranged units and his heroes, which is very important to note. If you do spend a lot more of it on your ghouls, it kind of becomes a lot less useful because ghouls really have no HP and they're going to die pretty quick anyways, especially due to the ranged focus fire. If you just use it mostly on your fiends, which is your main damage output and your main source of like hit points and stuff, it really makes it hard for them to focus anything. Also, it does give like an armor bonus, so it makes it even more painful to focus. And I'll point out, it does add 5 armor. Really nice coil snipe, by the way, if you didn't see that. But yeah, Frost Armor level 2, 5 armor. How do you deny that? It's like a free upgrade for your frickin' heroes. Ugh, I love it. Ever since I saw this replay, I've pretty much changed my entire playstyle. So, Axelav is adding A-bombs to his army, and really at this point it's kind of over anyways, but the great thing about the Abominations is they take very little damage from the range, because they do have, you know, the whole massive amount of HP thing, and they do have a lot of armor, I guess, in respect to ghouls and fiends. So it kind of makes it really painful. All they'll be able to do is use their Kodo Beast, which you can focus down with your fiends and your heroes anyways. And it's really a massive amount of GG at this point. Now, I did mention Tier 3 at one point. The great thing about Tier 3 is it gives you so many more options. It gives you a couple more upgrades for units, such as like the Envenom Spears, more damage output done by the Kodo Beasts. It does give you Berserker upgrade, which is really important against this. Like, if you are playing the Fiend Shi, it is great to have an entire ranged army, especially because with your Troll Berserkers, you do have the ability to hit the Berserk button and do shitloads of damage with their whole attacking, throwing spears things like twice as fast.